Honors Pre-Calculus students, Unit 3, Topic 3 is about identities. This is one of the hardest unit in pre-calculus. Students find this unit very challenging, and the reason for this unit being challenging is you are using all your algebra skills in this unit. So in this video, we are going to review some algebra. Before we start on something, let me cheer you up. Define the following, define the trigonometry. Some students call it a weapon of math destruction. So also it's about identities. So many formulas and identities, you are supposed to know them and use them. Many times they are right there, but you don't use the packet, you don't use the cards, make a flashcards, know them, how to remember what to use. So that's another reason this unit is challenging. So let's review some algebra. So what algebra skills we need in this unit? This unit requires factoring and simplifying fractions. So brush up your skills. So let's talk about brushing up our skills is this first one. How do we factor this? What are the factors? The leading coefficient is 4x square minus 4x plus 1. Different students have different skills on factoring. Some students make boxes. I don't mind you make a box. But sometimes it's a guess and check works very well. In this case, 4x square minus 4x plus 1, the middle term is negative, the last term is positive. That means the both are negative. The last number is 1, so 1 times 1, that for sure. Now guess and check, 4x square. So clearly, if I use 4x and x, I'm not going to go at 4 in the middle. So in this case is 2x and 2x. Very similar. This is, of course, 3y minus 1. 3y minus 1, which is also sometimes we write it square. In honors pre-calculus class, you are always going to have straightforward factors, means either leading coefficient is a prime number or seldom you get this complete square like this. So factoring skills, if you need to draw the boxes, I don't mind you draw the box. We need to be effective, efficient. Effective, efficient means we need answer fast. So that was about factoring. So let's talk about fraction over fraction. Simplify the expression. And here they are all these x and a number, but in trig functions and all that, we are going to see them as identities. It will be a trig function. So what do we do here? 1 over x plus 1 over x minus 1. So think about if you have a over b over c, what would you do? Well, you can make this as a 1 and a over b, and you flip this fraction as 1 over c. So let's take a look at here. 1 over x plus 1 and 1 over x minus 1, because this is my fraction bar. Keep 1 here and you flip it. What will be this answer? X plus 1, x minus 1, you multiplying, so that is 1 over x square minus 1. Let's talk about here. Factor x square minus x plus 6, which would be x and x. Guess and check. Let's see. Last term is positive, the middle term is negative, that means they're both negative. Factors of 6 is 6 and 1 and 3 and 2. 6 and 1 will not give me 1, so this will be 3 and 2. Something's not right here. This gives me negative 5x. 6 and 1 is not true either. Let's make this positive. Negative 5x. Seems there is some mistake here. And x minus So what do we get if we simplify this? If we simplify here, what answer do we get? Is x minus 2, because these two factors divide out. Obviously, last one is the easiest one here. Common denominator is x and y, which means this needs to be multiplied by x, this needs to be multiplied by y, and answer is 2x minus 3y. Many times we are going to combine the fractions as well. So how do we combine fraction? Common denominator. So let's talk about this last one, which is very popular. You are going to see this so often. Instead of x, it would be a trig function. So common denominator is, draw the line. Okay, so let me, line is not even straight. Okay, there we go. So 1 plus x, 1 minus x, which means this needs to be multiplied by 1 minus s, first factor. Second factor needs to be multiplied by 1 plus x. Okay, so here 1 minus x, don't forget to distribute the negative sign. You will get, and denominator is 1 minus x square. And in this case, numerator 1 and 1 get cancelled, and the final answer is here. Many times students are cancelling everything. They think 1, 1, x, x, everything got cancelled, answer is 0. Always think logically, how can your answer is 0? What does it make difference? How can you have 0? 0 over everything is 0. So what kind of question you are going to see? Let me explain here. You will see this in our note as 1 over 1 plus cosine theta minus 1 over 1 minus cosine theta. And how do you simplify this? Well, let's check. You can compare here. X is a cosine theta. So my denominator is 1 plus cosine theta, 1 minus cosine theta, right? And I can jump straight from here. The answer is negative 2 cosine theta. Now we know that 1 plus and 1 minus is 1 minus cosine square. And this is one of the identities. 1 minus cosine square is a sine square, which we are going to see in the notes. And that's what we are looking for. How do we simplify? So this, using identities, we simplify to this. But before we do all this, we have to be good with algebra. How do we do in terms of x? Okay, so take a look at your page number 3 in the packet, where I am giving you ready arithmetic operations. Know certain things and use them. This is what I've talked about. A over B divided by C is A over BC. If it is in the denominator, that goes up. So I would bring it, this is the one, the most important one is here. Fraction over fraction, you multiply by reciprocal and you simplify this. Okay, many times when you combine, this is another important one. Check it out. If you have A plus B over C, yes, you are allowed to separate. But if you have C over A plus B, is not same as C over A plus C over B. Be careful, this is not true. Yes, you can, because the common denominator is C and you add the numerator. So certain things you should never do. Can never separate like this. Never separate like this. So most common algebraic error. Division by 0 is undefined. We know that no, division by 0 is a no. That's what it tells you. But If it is numerator is 0, okay, answer is 0. So be careful. No and okay, division by 0 is not defined. Another most common mistake, negative 3 square is not 9. If you put in a calculator, calculator will give you incorrect answer. Negative number square is always positive. Power of power, you multiply. X to the third, second to the third is a 6. So power of power, you multiply, do not add. I just spoke about that. You cannot separate. You cannot separate. This is another most common mistake. If you have 1 over 2 plus 3, you can never say that 2 to the negative 1 plus 3 to the negative 1. That's not true. That's not true. Oh, another, the most common mistake students make is here, this one. Take a look at it. You can never cancel because they are not true. You can rewrite. Take a look at up here. The correct way is done here. A over A plus bx over A. A over A is a 1. So this is the correct way. This is the correct way. This is the incorrect way. This is not correct. This is the correct part. Another common mistake is when you have to distribute the negative sign, often we forget to distribute with a 1. So before we learn higher level math classes, and higher level math concepts, we have to review silly algebra error. X plus a square is not this. That is always the middle term. Middle term is always there. So that is my shortcut here. You can always say x square plus a square. The middle term is product of these 3 to ax. Check it out. So there is always a middle term. Square root of x square plus a square is never. You cannot take a square root. Look at the example here. 3 square plus 4 square is 5 square, but square root of 3 and square root of 4 is not, that's 7, that's not 5. Same thing here, square root of x plus a, you can never separate. You cannot separate. You cannot separate. So when you can separate is something like this. Yes, you can separate. This is true. When you can separate, when it's a product. This is true. But not sum difference. If it is a product or a ratio, yes, you can separate, but not as a sum or difference. So before we jump into the trig unit, I want you to brush up your algebra skills, and this is your asynchronous work. I want you to watch this video and you are going to write a reflection paragraph. What's your weakness? Which error you are making, and what's your most difficult, which one you are struggling on. Okay, so thank you so much.